Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening.
Hope all of you are well.
Good evening. Yep. Going on.
Thank you. All is well.
Good to know. Okay, today's session, I'm gonna mute everyone. Today's session is for the module on leadership and strategy. This is the most important module for the CFM exam. If you remember from the first session, the introductory session, this was marked as having the highest points that are likely to come in the exam. Why do you think IFMA has put a high importance on this one? I'll tell you why. Because a manager is supposed, a good manager, let's put it this way, is supposed to be a leader, a good leader. Also, a manager should understand strategy, should understand that the things that, even though that, let's say you are a facility manager, you may be away from the corporate decision. This is something decided in the head office. Yes, even though whatever you do should be aligned with the strategy of the company. I always give the example that, let's say you're working for a cost-conscious company, you cannot adopt a lavish strategy at your facilities. On the other hand, if you're working for a posh hotel, which is a 5-star hotel, then luxury is the key for you, and you cannot take shortcuts. So whatever strategy you apply at your facilities should be in line with that of the organization. So to start with, we started by talking about leadership. Can someone tell me what's the difference between leadership and management? Or between being a leader? What's the difference between a leader and a manager?
I think leader like motivate their team. They involve working with their team members. This is what I think.
Okay.
Can I add something here?
Sure.
Yeah, my name is Firas Sarhan. I think leadership is someone who takes the initiative, who motivate their team, while management is something else. It is delegating the job to the team.
Okay. Anyone else?
Ajitya, I would say a manager is a person who looks at the output, and leader would be a person who will work along with you to achieve the output.
So basically, I see that all of the guys answered in the right direction. Let's put it this way. We will see a more clear distinction between the two. A manager is someone who does something, manages something more mechanically, in the sense that managing means taking the routine tasks, doing the routine tasks, looking at, and a manager usually is a manager, there's a positional management. A leader is someone who takes the initiatives, as you rightfully said, someone who is there for the team, someone who is there to support the team. Krishna Kumar, you are absolutely right. A good manager should be a good leader. And you will find also that you don't necessarily have to be a manager to be a good leader. But not every manager is a good leader. So, for example, you will find in your teams or in the level of teams, people who are of the same, how do I say, same responsibility, same task structure, same position. And yet, among this team, you will find a leader. So a leader doesn't have to have positional power. A leader is someone who takes and puts the people under his wing. So here we will see the different definitions of the leadership, the different leadership style. There's not only one leadership style or management style. There are many leadership styles. Someone mentioned regarding the the fact that a leader looks at output, a manager looks at an output, a leader is someone who guides you through that. That's true. We'll see the different management theories about that. To start with, however, we are starting with strategy. Okay, what is strategy? Again, any input on what is strategy? What is strategy? When we say strategy, what do we mean?
Strategy means that you have to be proactive. You have to be visionary and plan ahead everything.
Okay, so part of strategy is looking ahead.
Yes.
Okay, fine. How far ahead?
It depends on, there are two types of projects. It depends on the, let's say, the project duration.
Strategy is more long-term than the daily operations. When we talk about strategy, we're talking about more of a long-term thing. A strategy is not something related to short-term. It's something that you look forward ahead to. This is where I am. This is where I want to be. Strategy is the overall picture where we want to be. If you look at it, strategy in terms of definition is the science of planning. So it's planning that involves developing a scheme, okay, using artful means or creating an advantageous position to best accomplish important goals. Strategy explores the big picture and long-term needs of an organization. Therefore, it is at a higher level than facility planning. Okay. So what do you mean by strategy? So at one point in time, for example, and strategy changes. It's not something static, but it's not something that changes on a daily basis. It's something where you set a goal for yourself and your organization and you reach it. So for example, at one point in time, Google was not the #1 search engine in the world. Then they took a strategy to be the #1 and they worked for it and they've done it. Amazon, for example, also wasn't the world leader in online shopping. Then initially they took a leadership. See, Amazon started as a book selling company. So the first step they did is that as part of their strategy, they went and became the #1 book selling company online. After that, they changed the strategy and they became the #1 seller of everything online. And even after that, Amazon expanded their strategy. Amazon is more than an online store. You know, for example, the AWS, which is the cloud system which Amazon uses as a platform, is one of their top revenue generating business models. So Amazon went out a little bit much bigger than being an online shop. So this is all set because of a strategy. Strategy, it should be in line with your vision and mission, where you want to be, what you want to be. You want to be a market leader. You want to be a preferred solution provider, let's say for real estate, for luxury real estate in Qatar. Or we want to be the best and the most cost-effective 3-star hotel in Qatar. So this is a strategy. And if you are, let's say, and it's something higher than facility management, but how does that reflect on you? If, for example, you are the facility manager of a hotel chain, even a 3-star hotel, and you want the hotel to become the preferred choice for business travelers, there are certain things that your facility need to have to be in line with that strategy. You need, first of all, for example, you need to ensure that I've had, for example, one hotel of a similar thing, and they were very much interested in energy optimization. Why? Because of someone who is running a hotel at a 3-star with a world class, they really want to maintain the best rates. And for them to maintain the best rates, they look at each and every aspect of their operation. So if you can reduce their energy bill by 20-30%, they will give you their ears. So similar to whatever you're doing, whatever your organization decides, you as a facility manager should be in line with that. So strategic planning, we go to strategic planning, is a scheduled task that is performed periodically but has daily repercussions on facility management activities as well as the level of stakeholder satisfaction. FM stakeholders include the senior executives or clients, the business owner, we've defined those earlier. So strategic planning, we start from the big, we see how the strategy goes from the top, from the big, and it funnels down even to your day-to-day activities. Because this is a trickle-down management. You start from the big strategy to the strategy for the facility, to the strategy for the business unit, to the strategy of the day-to-day operations. The strategy life cycle model starts with understanding. So same like previous things that we have identified, usually we take a first step will be to understand, to see where we are, whether we talked about quality, whether we talked about emergency preparedness, whether we talked about risk management. If you remember, the same cycles more or less are similar. First, it starts with a step where we understand, we go and view what we have, whatever we're doing, whether we're doing a strategy or whatever, then we analyze, then we plan, and then we devise, we go and act. So if I want to devise a strategy, and let's say Samsung was not, I don't know if you remember guys, but when Samsung was first introduced, people didn't know who is Samsung. Who is this Korean company who is coming with a mobile phone that has an all touch screen, and that really it's a Korean company, you know, and it's coming to compete against a Finnish company, which is Nokia, a European brand that's well reputed. So who knew that? So if I was like in Samsung, and Samsung wanted to become the #1 mobile phone of choice in the world, so when they came and devised a strategy, they would have been looking at where are they now? Understanding, where are they now? We are here. Analysis, okay, I am here, the competition is at that level, Nokia is at that level, they are controlling the market. If I want to reach on top of that, what shall I do? Shall I adopt a new software? Shall I go to the design? Samsung used to make initially phones with buttons. The bet they took, and in which worked with them, is that they went and adopted Android. They were the first of one of the first companies that adopt Android. They developed a strong relationship with Google at that time, and they decided to ditch the buttons. This is where Nokia failed. So where their strategy was different. No, the people are comfortable. Who's going to use a touch screen? And then after the plan, okay, for me to become a leader, let's say I need to adapt on new technology, I need to do whatever, and then I act. And then it's not static. I keep on changing it to meet the needs. How does that affect the business? Okay, so we go and the strategic purpose level, strategic planning level. So this is the customers, understanding what the customers want. Strategic level planning, demand organization, corporate strategy. So we devise the corporate strategy. Always quality, and you will see this in the quality module. Quality is not decided by us. Quality is decided by your client. You can say that you have the best hotel in the world. You have the best mall in the world. You have the best hospital in the world. You can say whatever you want to say. It's the end. The decision is not yours. And it is the customer who decides that. So everything, strategic purpose level, it comes from the customer. And then the planning level, because the purpose is to serve the customer. And then from the planning level, we divide the corporate strategy. Okay, and then the corporate strategy will reflect on every business unit. So if I'm deciding to purchase clients with the best luxurious experience for their stay in the hotel, that's going to reflect on many things. It's going to reflect on the procurement. Procurement will not be looking, for example, for the cheapest things. Let's say you go to the Ritz here, or you go to Marriott or whatever. You see them that they are ensuring that it goes to the facility management. It goes to even the level of the staff, the HR. They are trained in a certain way to handle you, and so on. And similarly, FM, it goes down into the FM. So these are the other business units. HR, finance, blah, blah, their priority will not be the cost cutting. It will be more providing that experience for the customer that makes them feel that whatever they're paying for, it's worth for their money. Tactical level, so it moves from the strategic planning level, then we move to tactical level. What is tactics? Tactics is how we devise our strategy into action. So the tactics goes to operations and maintenance, the operations plan, the maintenance plan. So for example, Google wanted to be a world leader in their business. And now they are, I think their strategy is to be much more than a search engine. So that's why it reflects on other business units, for example, to be a world leader of a solution provider for internet solutions, multiple internet, I need to retain and attract the best talent in the world. So this happens to HR. So most likely, this will also reflect to a certain degree on facility management, which is handling their offices. If I want to attract and retain the best talents, then I, as a facility, need to provide the best offices that are there. I need to provide offices which cater to the age group which I am targeting. Google usually targets the younger generation. They target people who are fresh out of university. So for me to make this experience, it's going to reflect on my operations plan. How do I operate? So that's why we saw the facility management at Google. They provide laundry service, they provide playroom areas, they provide food, and so on. So you as a facility manager, this will reflect on you. And then it goes into the execution level. So this is the planning, and then it goes to the execution. And after we execute, we do a measurement level, measure performance. Am I really meeting the intended strategy of the organization? Yes or no? And then the feedback level, I validate the strategy. So this is always, you see also, it's not a one-way channel. The arrows are going up and down. Maybe that strategy didn't work. Maybe my plan to have colorful office didn't work. So I need to go up and revisit my strategy for the facility management. So you see, in management, there is nothing cast in stone. It is always flexible, always iterative, and we will see that even in something such as project management, now the whole world is moving towards agile project management, Scrum models, which is that iterative project management rather than following the normal sequence that we are used to. So a strategic plan is an outline of the direction of an organization. It outlines broad, long-term, significant plans and the methods and actions by which the organization will operate. A strategic plan is an outline of the direction of the organization. So, and basically, again, organization vision is a part of its strategy. It's a statement of its strategy, yes. So it's a statement of its strategy. So the vision is where we want to be. And then the strategy to achieve that is through this strategy. So it's the tool which is leading to the vision of the company. So they are integrated. So the goal of strategic planning is to turn the plans into action. Strategy is very good, but a strategy that is not executed means nothing. It's just poetry. Strategy fails not at the theoretical level. Many strategies on the theoretical level look excellent, okay? They fail in execution. Many companies have tried. I give an example like Google Plus. I don't know, guys, if you remember Google Plus. Google Plus was put as a platform that will come and become the #1 social platform at the time where Facebook was at its peak. Even Instagram was not strong at that time. Google went and spent millions of dollars. They put advertisements. They got celebrities, big celebrities from India, from the Middle East, for each region. Okay, and they paid a lot of money, and they tried to make accounts for them and to engage the people. So theoretically, it looked good. Who's using Google Plus now? No one. Google Plus was put to death. They killed the business. So strategy at execution failed. But Google didn't crumble. They go and shift and move. They continue. Life continues. So when aligning So that's what I was talking about. You as a facility manager need to align the strategic requirement to the or entire organization. When aligning that, the facility manager and possibly a small planning team develop a thorough understanding of the organization's purpose and need. So what does my organization want and need? If I'm a hospital, what is their aim? For example, even here in Qatar, Al-Ahli Hospital. Al-Ahli Hospital, they don't call because they want to provide an experience for the client, even in hospitals. You see even their facility inside, at least that at that time, it was like a big thing. Even they refer to their patients, they don't refer to them as patients, they refer to them as guests. So there is an organization purpose. So at that time, there was a strategy that I'm targeting this level of the clientele base. I'm targeting the luxury side of and many hospitals are opening now. Now Al-Ahli maybe is backward. I'm telling you, like 10 years ago. Now many clinics are coming up which target only that high level of high-end clients. So managing a facility of this is different than managing Hamad. Hamad, you are a facility which is having to deal with a very high volume. You need to maintain a certain level. So running it again is different. So that's why Hamad, for example, for their facilities now, it's in continuous upgrade. And you see so many additions are happening there. So organization's purpose and needs. So you need to understand the needs and determine the aligned purpose of the FM organization. So from the vision statement of the company, you come and devise it's the FM's vision statement. So for example, the FM organization will become world-class by creating intrinsic rewards for staff and a satisfying workplace environment for the entire organization. So maybe this can be something that applies to Google. Yani the FM organization will become world-class by creating intrinsic rewards for staff. It's not for Google, but it can be something like that. I'm just giving an example. And a satisfying workplace environment for the entire. So similar thing is here there. That is here, you know, it's like the organization wants to create an adaptable organization. So maybe, so we'll succeed in a rapidly changing environment. We will create an FM organization that's alert, responsive, proactive, thrifty, and fun. So different terms are put here. They're looking for thrifty, for fun, for responsiveness. Maybe this is a fast changing or a growing organization which needs a support. The mission, it's the FM organization mission to build relationships and solve problems as partners with customers, staff, contract. We have the vision and then the mission and suppliers. So how we do that, we focus on our mission. It's the FM organization mission to be an indispensable partner to customers who share complete confidence in the FM organization's ability and commitment to provide solutions that leverage technology and maximize the capabilities of the workplace environment and infrastructure. So what you really need to understand is how it goes from a top level and then it reflects on the business units and it reflects on you as a facility manager. Because the FM organization serves all other business units, developing the current knowledge of each business unit, unique perspective and goal is vital. Particularly important are business unit plans to reorganize, expand, or contract. So at the basic of it, you know, you need to understand, are we a growing organization? Are we an organization which is like Facebook at its 10 years ago? So they knew that they were on a plan to go and expand globally, or even Google. So Google has offices in many places in the world. So when you are there, you are understanding is that, are we a growing organization? Forget Google, any other, doesn't have to be a technology company. So many service providers, let's say Microsoft, or even there were many companies, even an oil and gas company. So for example, now oil and gas companies globally, they are shrinking. Why? Because the oil price is down. Many are even closing their offices here in Qatar. So you as a facility manager, you need to understand what's the policy. Are we on an expansion mode or are we in a contraction mode? we're on an expansion mode, it means that we have to deploy our teams to different countries. It means that we have to be more alert about that. If we're on a contraction mode and we are not sure, maybe it's better that now, for example, I rent serviced office where I have this flexibility and where I can ditch them at any time or go back. Or maybe the strategy of the organization is to sustain wherever we are, the offices. So maybe it's better that we are looking very long term and we want to purchase the properties in which we are, in the areas in which we operate. Well, this is our goal. Reconfigure space to implement new initiatives, change the business unit leadership, and revise budget priorities. So we can see, for example, just as an example, how at a corporate level, PepsiCo decides a strategy, and then it goes to a business level. So PepsiCo now is more than a Pepsi company. It has foods, it has beverages. Lay's, for example, is owned by Pepsi. They own tens of brands. And then it goes to the business level, the specific business level. And from that business level, it goes to the functional level. It goes to marketing, accounting, human resources, and in our case, facility management. Organizations may have an existing business strategy plan or corporate business strategic plan. And if so, it is a direct input to facility strategy. See, whether an organization, sometimes what happens is that some organizations and many smaller ones will not have a written strategy, but there is a strategy. Somewhere, someone, we are moving in that direction. Maybe they didn't explicitly state it. So you have to understand what's that strategy and to be in line with it in your business unit, okay? So the strategic business plan spells out the organization's perspective on its current position with respect to its financial strength, market share, and profitability. So for example, under Jack Welch, the famous CEO of GE, he had a strategy that GE had tens of businesses across the globe. They are more than an equipment provider. They provide power plants. There is even GE Finance. And he came and decided, look, I will revise all, and they have GE Healthcare. So he said, okay, look, my strategy is that wherever I operate, I'm either the number one or number two. If I have a business that I'm not, or a business unit that I'm not gonna be able to be in the market as a number one or number two, I'm gonna close it. So this was his strategy. So the strategy with respect to its financial strength, market share. Where are we in the market share? Where are we on profitability? Coming and upcoming competitors and other potential market threats. We need to understand the market, current business model and plans for changing the business model, current and planned projects, planned direction over 3 to 5 years. So usually strategy, we've seen these numbers and countries even implement them. They say that we have a strategic 5-year plan. Or in the case of Qatar, for example, there is the 2030 vision. It's a very longer term plan. And so on. So this is where we want to be. So we are here by 2030 where we want to be. Saudi Arabia also has the same plan. Strategic objectives and strategic requirements such as goals and the means to achieve them. So we start with vision is the business aspiration, where we see ourselves. The mission, why the company exists and so this is the mission. What's our mission? So this is the vision, this is the mission. Objectives, result that a company aims to achieve. The strategy. So how we move from something very high level to strategy. When we start talking about strategy, we start talking about planning rather than a vision. Planning. So long-term plan. The key word is plan. Design to achieve objectives, approach, methodology, and tactics. So we move from the vision all the way down through strategy and up to tactics. Tactics are smaller, focused action plans that are supported for the overall approach and strategy. Do you remember the organizational balance scorecard? If you don't, I will remind you again. So as we said, is that the traditional way of managing an organization has been to look only at the financial side. But then the the balance scorecard came and introduced other areas. They said that it's not enough for you to be financially rewarding. You need to talk about longevity. As I said, I can take shortcuts in making the company make more money this year. I can reduce the number of manpower, reduce the number of people who can take the calls and customer service. I will make the company more profitable. But will the customers come again next year? Will the company on the long term still benefit? So that's why we devised different areas for the financial, customers, internal processes, and learning and the growth, which what we called last time also the employee. So here we're looking at the customer side, here we're looking at the employee side, and here we're looking at the internal business process side in addition to the financial. So the same thing applies for the objectives and so on. So when we are deciding the strategy, it again can be used as a guideline on the organizational business strategy. So we move here, you can see from a strategic facility plan, a keyword. So when we talked about the business unit, we're talking about the strategic facility plan. So a strategic facility plan is a long-term facility plan encompassing an entire portfolio. When we talk about now in terms of facility management, we're talking about the strategic facility plans. We're talking about the entire portfolio of owned and leased space that sets strategic facility goals based on the organization's strategic objectives. So for example, let's say I am Hilton. Okay, Hilton has tens and hundreds of hotels, okay, thousands I think across the globe, in which they are co-operator and sometimes they are the owner. So let's say when they come and look at the strategic facility plan, okay, they look at the entire portfolio. The entire portfolio, they do an existing condition analysis, organizational needs statements, link the FM to strategy. What does Hilton want to do in its business for the next 5 years? Do they want to become a leader, or they continue a leader in that, or maybe they want to shift to so for example, if you see a growing trend in the big companies in the hotel, you find like sometimes they are shifting into 4-star hotels. Not shifting, they have the 5-star, but they are shifting again into the 5-star hotel building. So for example, you have Embassy, I think, by Hilton, you have DoubleTree by Marriott or whatever. So again, this is part of the strategy. So this is where we want gap analysis, is where I am versus where I should be, recommendation for new spaces and building, cost projection, and so on. So strategic facility plan applies to the entire portfolio. Then we shift to the master plan. The master plan, okay, is a key word of it is that is site specific. So real estate master plan or campus plan, it's called also a campus plan, is a detailed long-term or mid-term set of specification and schedule for implementing elements of a strategic facility plan. Facility master plan often contains scenarios which are various site-specific options. So I talked about my entire portfolio. Let's say I'm handling the whole Hilton in the world. Then I will go into the Middle East. I'll go into the Middle East. I look into Qatar. In Qatar, I look for the Hilton where there's a Hilton. West Bay. Hilton West Bay. For Hilton West Bay, there will be a master plan. So master plan, we are talking about a site-specific physical plan for buildings. So this is the master plan. I will have drawings for it. I will have all the detailed information of that building and for each specific. So I cannot group all of the Hilton hotels in Qatar under one master plan. A master plan is a campus plan, a site-specific plan. And in the master plan, okay, there is a tactical plan. So for example, if I had a top strategy, let's say from the top, that we want to adopt energy environmental friendly awareness and to promote our hotel as being the most energy efficient in the world. Okay, so we apply it for the all strategic facility plan. Okay, we apply it to laundry and their washing. we apply it to other units. But for our strategy, we apply it to the marketing to market this. So, and then when we come to the FM, we'll apply it to the strategic facility plan. And then in the strategic facility plan, we look at all our properties across the globe. So then we come to the master plan in Doha. And that master plan in Doha, because each building is different. Some buildings are still under construction as a facility manager. So if it's under construction, then maybe I stop and I ensure that the building is designed and built to include the optimum energy efficiency. If it's an older building, then my tactic will change. So the tactic, for example, maybe I will call an energy contractor and try to operate and upgrade the building, okay? So we moved from the strategic plan to the master plan to the tactical plan. A tactical planning level is where each business unit or department moves from general to specific. So we're talking about tactics. Tactical plan is a detailed set of steps needed to accomplish a goal in the strategic plan. So there are several tools. We look now at the tools for strategic planning. When you hear the word programming, okay, in management, it doesn't mean creating code on Python or C++ or Java or whatever. Programming, and this you will see it here, and you will see it also tomorrow or next time when we reach the project management module. Or even, it'll come a lot. So programming is collecting requirements. This is what it means. Programming, it means collecting requirements in short. So it's a type of analysis that employs user observations. So how do we collect the requirements? It can happen through interviews, surveys, or user observation to show how to improve a specific function in an organization. So for example, if let's say I am an airport and I want to secure, I'm a private operator of an airport, or I am an airport, a Doha airport, and I want to ensure that the visitors of the airport get processed very quickly. That the moment I will advertise that within 20 minutes from the plane lands, you are outside of the building. And it's again one of the tools to measure. So I can go and survey the people or interview them, or let's say I go and interview them. I can go and interview the people. I can go and interview the functional management of the building. I ask them, okay, where are the most waiting times? Where do the clients, the visitors waste their time? Or I can also implement, or I can take a combination of both. I can go and do a user observation. I observe the flow. So for example, maybe I see that at immigration, people are spending more time. Like they are getting the baggage quickly, but the bottleneck is the immigration. Why the immigration?Maybe, for example, there are only 3 counters open. Okay, so maybe as a facility, I need to provide more counters. So this is how we go from the big strategy to the small strategy to the tactical planning. Another tool that we use is brainstorming. What is brainstorming? I'm confident that many of you are familiar with it, if not all of you. So brainstorming is an activity in which a group is assembled for creative idea generation. So it's brainstorming, or in Arabic is asf al-dhihni. So brainstorming is like when you sit in a group and try to find a solution for something, for strategic planning, let's say. And then everyone dumps an idea. The rule of brainstorming is that to allow all ideas, and this is sometimes what we call thinking out loudly. Whatever comes into your head, you just dump it. You put it on the wall. You put it on a board. This is called brainstorming. So to be expressed without criticism and asking all participants to provide a large quantity of ideas. So brainstorming it's like brain dumping. You throw different ideas. So how can we make, for example, the processing of people faster? Someone will say, okay, we install an electric walkway. That is faster. Someone will say, we will build more gates. Whatever. So you allow different ideas to come in. Another tool is a SWOT analysis. SWOT is a process in which data on the organization's current state is arranged into 4 categories: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. This is a very common management tool in which is done for organizations. And we assess, okay, what are our strengths? What are our weaknesses? What are our opportunities? And what are our threats? Usually these strengths and weaknesses are things internal to the organizations. So for example, what is the strength? Let's say my strength is that I have very highly qualified staff. Okay, as a facility, let's say. I have a very highly qualified staff across many professions. Weaknesses, let's say, for example, can be I have very poor procurement management, or I have, so it's like analyzing where we are and where we are. So this is internal. Or I have a problem in cash flow management. Okay, opportunities are external things. So what are the opportunities available for me, and what are the threats? So opportunities, for example, that in whatever I am doing, there is like lots of demand for facility management now. Threats, okay, I can see 2-3 new entrants coming into the market, and they are dumping the market with very low prices. So this is a threat. So this is the tool, SWOT analysis. Strategic creative analysis is a specific type of SWOT, okay, which we call SCAN. It's to perform, it's a way of to implement it. It requires a facility manager to generate multiple options, and then from these options, generate multiple strategies. So scanning. So based on this, to solve the problem of the weakness, I make a plan 1, 2, 3, and then for the threat 1, 2, 3. To capitalize on the opportunity, I make other plans. Scenario planning is a process that generates instructive simulations of potential operating conditions so that the consequences of strategic changes can be anticipated and planned for. So if you remember in the financial analysis or the financial and business module, we talked about scenarios. Scenario planning is that it's a common thing. Sometimes organizations will come and tell you, like when you're having something, you want to see a way to solve it, you will go and ask, okay, what's the best case scenario? What's the worst case scenario? And what's the most likely scenario? So for example, we've done the same when, from a financial perspective, it can be done. Also, it was linked to strategy when we were having this COVID-19 situation. So at that time, there was no visibility when the country is going to open up. So, okay, what's the worst case scenario? The worst case scenario, for example, the country is going to stay like this for 1 year or 2 years. Then what to do in that case? What to do with the manpower? What to do with our existing contracts? We were requested to give discounts and so on. What's the best case? The best case, okay, the best case at that time, for example, was to go for 2 months. What is the most likely case? The most likely case was 3-4 months and so on. So this is a scenario planning. Feasibility study is a method of determining whether a strategy, scenario, or other option is likely to produce its promised results. So I'm studying, so this is a tool. I've developed a potential strategy. Then I go and do a feasibility study. Feasibility study is that I go and study in depth if this scenario or option will work. So we do feasibility studies for projects, for example. Any big project usually undergoes a feasibility study, but that it can go on a smaller level also. So if, for example, I do a feasibility, if I go with the idea, let's say, of adding lanes, will that really help? Lease versus own. A number of variants of the lease versus own analysis exists, could be used when analyzing FM organizational strategy, including lease versus own analysis, buy, build, expand, renovate analysis, and stay or move analysis. So the lease versus own in terms of facility management includes lease versus own. So for example, we are a growing organization. We're expecting to grow exponentially. We are exploring, so we are expecting that this year to have 100 employees, next year to have 300, the year after it 500, and it has happened. We've seen like organizations grow this big. So then maybe I need to analyze is that maybe I buy a property, or I go and build a property. I go and buy a land, let's say, and I start building my facilities. I say, okay, first year I'm gonna build a small unit, but I will have already the plot of land to be able to expand as per the organization's needs. If I'm opening a factory, let's say, for Procter & Gamble, and they expect the Saudi market to increase and they will expand in other directions, maybe I will come with that. So this is again linked to the strategy. Benchmarking is a method of comparing the performance of services against practices of other organizations or industries. It's a very common tool. So for example, now Google, Facebook, and many other technology companies, PayPal and whatever, are fighting for the same people. They all want to get the best in the IT industry. So some are innovators, such as Google, but then when Google started doing like this and promoting their offices, and it was even, I remember in the old days, when they used to send emails, there was no WhatsApp. They used to send emails, and then when you see emails of the offices of Google, you will be positively impressed. So then people came like Facebook, they said, okay, we'll do the same. So they are benchmarking, they're seeing what others are doing and they're just copying it, and so on. A gap analysis is another tool. It says that whether the organization is versus where it wants to be. I want to be a leader in real estate, leading hotel in Qatar. I want to be the main weekend attraction for visitors in Qatar. Whether it is not a hospital, whether it is a hotel or a resort or whatever. I have a resort and I want it to become the main. Where am I now? I need to understand, am I the second and I only have one competitor to get rid of, and maybe if I add another section to my attraction, it will get it? Or am I very far? I'm like now the 10th. People prefer to go to so-and-so, 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 and I'm the 10th on their choice. So this is gap analysis. A practical tool that is yes, Firas.
Yeah, can you please come back to the lease versus own and describe for me the wording? What does it mean exactly?
Firas, you're joining us recently or what?
Yeah, this is my first session actually.
Okay, that's why. So that's why
Yeah.
I didn't stop it. So the lease versus own is a decision that's for anything that you want to consider. So even in your own vehicle, you have a lease versus own option, right?
Mm-hmm.
So why you decide to lease versus decide to own? There is advantages and disadvantages on that. And in a facility management perspective, it also applies. So for example, let's say that I'm not sure about usually the advantages of owning is that you have more control. So when you own your vehicle, you can go and make it, you own the vehicle. You can decide when to sell it, when to keep it, to add accessories to it or whatever. Similar with a building, if you own a building or a facility, you can customize it the way you want, add whatever you want. You don't need to go through what do you call them? The landlord and so on. Versus when you lease, you don't have the control, but you have the flexibility of ditching out the building whenever you want. So sometimes you will sign a monthly lease. Okay, this also applies to the equipment. Let's say you're a facility manager and you want to look at the option. Now you are currently renting, for example, you're renting man lifts, and then you find out that you have 10 sites, and you find out that there is a continuous need, and it's cheaper for you to, usually it's on the long term, it's cheaper to own rather than to rent. So that's why this is the lease versus own. This is a strategy that can be utilized when you are selecting buildings for your organization as a facility manager. Clear?
Clear, thank you.
So we continue. One of the tools that we utilize for facilities, when we said, remember when let's go to that. if you remember for this, we talked about the strategic facility plan. Strategic facility plan encompasses a what? An entire portfolio. It was mentioned on the previous list. An entire portfolio. Okay, you see it here, entire portfolio. So a tool to put all the entire portfolio is something that we call a facilities register. So a facilities register, a comprehensive list. Comprehensive, it means includes all the organization's facility assets, including buildings, grounds, infrastructure, equipment, and even furniture. So usually those of you who work in facility management, you know that asset management, and but facility management, facilities register, you go even at the level of the facility. So you can see here, for example in the facility register, it includes the place, the city, state, region, county. It includes if it's leased or owned. Strategy to be determined, for example, who are the occupants of the building, what's the total area, how many employees per square meter, the capacity, 50 people, the rental rate, the vacancy rate, how much you can put more people here, the lease expiration date, and so on. So this is a facility register, and this will help you a lot when you are, let's say, a big organization. And I mentioned Hilton just as an example. I'm managing the facilities of Hilton, and I have the details of each hotel. I have the details of, or I'm managing the offices of Microsoft in the region. I know which ones are owned, which ones are leased, which ones we have, like, let's say if I have a facility, I'm taking a decision to shrink down the operations, okay? We saw how that the organization is winding up its operations in the Middle East. Just by looking at the lease expiration date, I have a quicker access to take my decisions. So I say, for example, in Doha, I have 2 offices, but one is expiring soon and the other one is expiring after 1 year. So rather than I'm paying the penalty, I will shift the people in this office to that office, and so on. So this is how you handle strategy. Facilities audit are thorough periodic reviews. So same way like we have a quality audit, safety audit, you have something that we call a facilities audit. So these are thorough periodic reviews that encompass all of the services and assets within a facility. Facility audits follow a systematic process of inspecting and reporting on conditions and functional performance level of facilities themselves and the FM service programs. So you are auditing facilities. Let's say you are managing a group portfolio of facilities. You have different facility managers on sites, and then you will want to go, okay, what are the conditions of the equipment of the building itself? What are the levels of service? So let's say, for example, and in these facilities, I'm providing food services or cleaning services. Just by auditing it, I will be able to understand. So, or I can go and survey the employees. So if my aim is to satisfy the talent that I have, maybe I go and ask them, do you find the space that you are allocated is enough? Do you find it suitable for you to conduct your day-to-day operations? So audits help answer questions such as, should the organization increase its investments to improve productivity? What are the space requirements for the business units, projects, and initiatives? Can standards be devised to measure facility utilization? Does the number and location of buildings support or dilute the business plan? So we can see how it's linked to it. So are we, in terms of a facility management is a support function. It's not like frontline function, but it is also important because it encompasses, depending on the business. And you cannot have hospitals which are providing service quality, which are run in poorly managed facilities. So if my plan is to become like the #1 hospital or clinics providers in the country, does my current facilities support or dilute the business plan? And what is the labor cost, transportation cost, convenience level for customer and visitors? So I'm assessing all the directions of the facilities. There can be targeted audits. So this is, we're talking in general. It can be a facility audit which looks at the energy use. I want to assess how green my buildings are. How energy efficient are my team operating it. So I go to the buildings, I assess their conditions, what is being done for energy optimization, and so on. Strategic facility plan. The strategic facility plan is defined in relation to the organizations and FM organizations' mission and vision. A successful strategic facility plan demonstrates the following. So we moved into the facility plan, understanding of the organization, mission, and culture. We talked about these, so I'm going to be running quickly on them. Analysis of existing facilities by type, location, quantity, and conditions of spaces. An affordable, feasible, and approved plan to translate the strategic objectives into tangible FM responses. So we move from the strategy to the tactics to the day-to-day operation. Context of a facility plan may include a schedule of facility development activities. So I was at the general and I wanted to, my strategy is, as I said, to improve the hotel's position as a #1 facility choice of 5-star hotels globally. Then I made a facilities register, and then I looked into them, and then I looked at the master plan for each, the master plan for each, or the campus plan for each unit. And I was assessing, for example, the Marriott Hotel, the old Marriott Hotel that was near the airport there. And then I found out, okay, it's decaying and it's not suitable anymore. So I come and I make an initiative activity. So the activity was, in that case, was to renovate the Marriott because it's old. So, or let's say that I wanted to make my whole buildings to be more energy efficient. I found out that one building is new and really there's not much to do with it. And then, but on another side, I found out that there is a lot for me to do. I can change the pumps, can change the chillers, I can install a new building management system, and so on. So it's a schedule of facility development activities. Then required facility types, recommended geographic locations, estimated costs, and timelines. So I'm creating a strategic facility plan to look into all of this. I look at the development activities for each unit, the facility types, locations, a facility portfolio, including documentation and analysis. So the portfolio can be a part of the plan because the portfolio will tell you, okay, we have this. So Uber wants to open offices across the Middle East. Okay, where is my existing facility portfolio? The closest office that I have to Qatar is in Dubai. It services the region. Let's say Uber wants to create regional offices. So then this is the existing thing, and this is the required facility types and recommended locations. In Doha, for example, recommended to have an office in West Bay to maintain the image or whatever. Industry benchmarking studies and analysis. So any tool, it may include any of the tools, condition surveys, capacity analysis, and a list of recommended projects with estimated costs. Where are we now? Can we take let me see how far are we, and I'll tell you how long the thing. We are at 17. Let us take what's the time now? 8. Let's be back by a 7-minute break. Can we do that? Okay.
Okay.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Yes,
See you
please. Okay, thank you.
Bye bye. Okay, so we're back.
Okay. Yes. Welcome back.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Okay, so we talk about the, again, I'm gonna go through the cycle of the things. We talked about strategic facility plan. Then we go to a master plan and then a tactical plan. So here we talked about the strategic facility plan. Now we're talking about the master plan. So in the master plan, always remember, a master plan is a site specific. Site specific. I'm not talking about all my facilities. I'm talking about my specific site, whether it's like, let's say, it can be even a university with a big campus, but I'm talking about a specific site. So just a minute, let me get the pen. Okay, so these are called facility master plan, or a real estate master plan, or a campus plan. Is a specific site specific framework with specific schedules for implementing a strategic facility plan. They may vary in their content and layout, but they generally contain the following elements. Generally, they can vary. So they concrete model of the site, such as a code-colored sited drawing, timeline of project start if it's an under construction project, organizational image to be promoted, analysis of site regulatory or zoning issues, infrastructure and transportation plans. So it's a full information of the site. So this is like the as-built site. Here I have the parkings, here wherever, the security plans are there, the amenities and support plans, cost estimates, if whatever I'm going to do to the plan, let's say I want to install high-end security systems because my strategy is to secure better by buildings, and sustainability design. Then we move to the tactical plans. So tactical plans are detailed plans that indicate how to implement strategic plans for facilities or services. Tactical plans are traceable back to the facility plan, master plan, and even to customer requirements. So customer requirements are linked to the strategy, which is linked to the facility strategy plan, and then we're looking at the site-specific master plan, and then we look at the tactical plan. Tactical plan can be used to implement strategic goals in the following ways: changing policies, procedures, and practices to reflect a new strategic direction for the organization, providing staff and contractors with training in new technology, policies, procedures, or practices, changing employee, so it goes into the level even talking about the HR, changing the employee review and reward system, incorporating strategy with technology tools such as integrated asset management or building design and management software. So let's say it can be my strategy to digitize everything across my organization, to make it all automatic and utilize the latest technology. So even in accounting, I go and use the latest CRM, which is linked to the stores, linked to the projects. And in terms of facility, let's say I need to adopt the latest software. I'm digitizing my company. I'm a high-end technological company. I utilize the technology to its fullest extent to be able to optimize on costs and improve service. Amending service level agreements with new assurances, generating a specific change. So if I'm changing my strategy, then it can follow on many levels. Whatever was before may become obsolete and I need something new. So scheduling a project with its own timeline, funding, and goals. Here we come to the lead versus manage. We talked about it in the beginning. We're going to be elaborating more now. So leadership is guiding and direct the others and directing the other's actions and decisions through one's position, power, and personal influence. As a manager, you have a position power. What does a position power? If I put person A as a manager of person B, then person A has a position power. So they can influence. Okay. But then it says is that guiding and directing through position power for leadership plus personal influence. As I said, there can be people who are in the same team of the same level, but one is a better leader than the other. Someone who comes to the front, who takes initiative, who is not afraid to become vocal. Management, on the other hand, is the conduct of business to accomplish a goal by planning, organizing. So here we're talking about the skeletal, how it's done. So the management is the mechanical side of it. By planning, organizing, staffing, leading, directing, and controlling an organization and the judicious use and control resources and subordinates to achieve business objectives. So management, a manager tells the team, gives instruction, and the management is about short-term focus. A good manager is a combination of both. Leadership is is not only about doing it. Leadership is about creating strategic focus. A leader is someone with a vision, not managing the business on a day-to-day basis. So cross-training, you do them, and your job is to remove roadblocks as a leader. So there is a theory of leadership, which is called the servant leadership. It's a very prominent one now. It means that a leader of a team is someone who empowers the team and serves the team. In the sense is that my job as a leader is to see what's hindering you from reaching your objectives, from performing the best. And my role as your leader is to help you overcome these obstacles, remove them for you, iron them out. The management cycle process model starts with an input of a management, human resources, financial. This is how we manage. What resources we have? We have the human capital, we have the financial means to do that. We have the materials or technology, information. Okay. And the output is a performance, achieving the goals, the products that we deliver, the service, the efficiency, and the effectiveness. It goes through these cycles with planning or organizing and planning. So in organizing, we assign the resource for the task. In planning, we select the goals. Controlling, we execute and monitor the performance. Leading, motivating the staff to achieve the goals. So lead and manage, as I said, that management is more about position power. Leadership is about inspiration and personal influence. So we see like this more poetic when you talk about leadership. Talk about inspiration. Talk about leadership itself as a word is to lead, not to manage. Manage, you know, they say, for example, you manage your stress. You don't lead your stress. So manage is how to handle things. Types of position power. So the position power is different. So legitimate power. If I am your manager, I have a legitimate power over you. Okay. Rewards power. So some people have power and management power. Rewards power. For example, HR, they have a kind of power. Even though you are parallel to them, they are in charge of your rewards or can influence your rewards. So they have a rewards power. Coercive power, like sometimes people don't have so this is the rewards or coercive. So rewards is the positive, rewarding. Coercive is someone maybe is able to punish you or harm you. So this is not harm you, is able to put a corrective plan on you. So they have a coercive power. Process power. So finance usually has a lot of process power in an organization, because everything goes, it can get approved by your boss, manager and all, but then in the end, in the process, it has to be approved by your CFO. And maybe everything is approved, but they have a process power. Maybe you don't report directly to a CFO, but in the organization, in the structure of the process, he has power. Information power. So for example, you have the secretary of the CEO has a lot of information power, because she is close to the decision making, and this is a power on its own. Representative power, if someone is representing someone, so maybe let's say you are operating in Qatar as a multinational company, and then they send someone as a representative from the head office. Maybe he's parallel to you, but because he has better information power, because he has a representative power, it can make the power to their side. Leadership is about inspiration and personal influence. There are different types of influence, and remember, people who are on the same level, sometimes you have a team and then you find one of them is leading. Why? Some of them are able to have rational persuasion. They're able to convince the team. So this is, some people are able to sell an idea even. They say some of people are able to sell ice to the Eskimos. That's good, they are. Some have expert power. So expert power, like you see it always, that if someone is a veteran in something and they have to come back to him, although they are at the same level, if something gets stuck, they go to person X. So this is a leadership in itself. Referent power, like people refer to him. Our coalition power, it's, for example, someone is a representative, he's able to lead the team and move with them. So managers administer, do day-to-day jobs. So meet objectives and delegate tasks. Someone mentioned delegation in the definition, and this is true. Innovate, so their process is transformational. So that's why a leader has a vision. It's not someone who comes and does day-to-day jobs. Managers are work focused. The goal is to get things done. They are skilled at allocating work. The goals include both people and results. They care about you and want you to succeed. Managers have subordinates. Okay, leaders have followers. So in the sense is that managers have subordinates. They're not people. Leaders have followers. Leaders are someone who go and pave the road for you, and people follow them. They respect them as a boss, not because only of their position power, but because they inspire them. Managers do things right. Leaders do the right things. So managers are very mechanical, okay, and they follow the process and procedure. Leaders are not afraid to break the status quo. They're afraid. They shape the culture and drive in integrity. So, for example, if you go to someone who's a pure manager, telling him that, okay, I am, they see someone that a process and per regulation, no, we have to do this. So they do the things right. They don't challenge the status quo. Leaders, on the other hand, say, well, why the hell, but this is stupid, we need to change it. So they go and shape the organization. Now we look into in a way, this module also is a continuation of the last module, because when you're leading, you are looking at the human resources. You're dealing with people. So we will be looking at the different management theories, and the first step for facility managers seeking to develop their staff is to understand what motivates individual behavior. You remember last time we talked about the Maslow's hierarchy of needs? Remember that triangle, the famous triangle? Initially, you find people who are interested to meet their basic needs. Then they go into self-actualization to reach it on the top, and realization. So they go through the channel to reach the top. So this is one theory of how people are motivated. So that at that Maslow hierarchy of needs said that if your basic needs are not met, if you are not sitting in a comfortable office with a proper ventilation or whatever, you cannot be really very creative and looking into expanding. You are just barely surviving. So there are many theories. Again, management theories are not exact science. They're like psychological theories. They're evolving, and they are theories. They are not like hypotheses or theorems or solid things. You know, gravity. If I drop the pen, it will fall. Management theories are not like that. They're speculative. They try to find the best way to find it. So accordingly, there are different views. There is no wrong or right view, it's just a different view. So, and theory X and theory Y is the way to handle the people. Theory X managers believe that most people are driven by monetary concerns, will avoid work when possible, lack ambition and dislike responsibility, are indifferent to organizational needs, lack creativity and resist change. So theory X looks at people in a very negative aspect. They look at them that they are only motivated by money. That's the reason that they come to the job. And whenever given with the chance, they will avoid the work. They lack ambition and dislike responsibility and don't care what happens to the organization. Theory Y managers, maybe this is also an old way to look at people. Now the theory Y managers believe that most people are driven by job satisfaction. People want to feel value. They are actively seeking work. Maybe the truth is also midway between the two. And it changes from one individual to the other. They show ambition and seek responsibility, are committed to organizational objectives, are creative and welcome change. I believe people fall a little bit in between the two, but I am a person who advocates the theory Y, that everyone wants to grow. Even the tea boy and the cleaner and the laborer, we are all destined, we are all looking to grow. And if you understand this as a manager and accommodate that need of individuals, you can still find a way to deal with them. So the Maslow hierarchy of needs, we said that people go from the survival mode, these are the basic needs, to the security mode. Then they go into belonging, importance, and self-actualization. Your job as a leader is to try to shift the people from that low side of the pyramid up. How it happens in a leadership context? So maybe now many people, due to the COVID-19 situation, are in the security and survival mode. But in other cases, it can be because they are disengaged. Some people, I'm here for the money and leave early when I can. Not engaged. I browse LinkedIn jobs during work hours. When you feel belonging to a company, like I'm almost engaged, I'm not growing and would leave if tempted. When you start feeling your importance in your organization, you become engaged. I feel important. I feel that this is the place. Maybe if they offer me 20% salary increase, I will not go. Otherwise, people would have been shifting jobs just the moment you show them a little bit more money. Some people are like that, and others no. They want to feel important. They want to feel comfortable. They want to feel belonging into a place. And then there is the self-actualization. This is the best status which you can drive an employee. It is when they are highly engaged, they are inspired, and they help. So the more you have people in that range, the more you are a successful leader, the more you are a successful company. People tend to shift between these roles depending on the situation, and we will see other ways of doing it. Another theory is called the Hesberg motivation, or the hygiene theory. What does that mean? It comes from hygiene. Hygiene is that something that you expect. You expect when you enter an office for it to be clean. If it's clean, You will not say, wow, the office is clean. Wow, wow. This is something you expect. But if the office is not clean, you will complain. You say, what the hell, what is this? So this is same for whatever rewards that you are getting. So the hygiene factors are things that people expect. People expect to have salary. They expect to have salary on time. People expect to have security. People expect to have good work conditions, good company policies. So these are things when gone, they become demotivators. But when they are there, they are not motivators. So no one will go because, like, let's say my office is clean. Oh, I'm very happy. This is a great organization. No, but let them not clean the office. So similarly applies to the policies. So people who are working in companies and getting their salaries on time, oh, good. Expect they're not getting their salary on time, it becomes a demotivator. But it's motivator. Unfortunately, maybe it is. Another tool that you can utilize, and it's very... My internet connection is, I don't know, stable. It's giving me a message. I hope you can hear me, guys. So the Myers-Briggs type indicator is one of the tools that I find very useful for us to understand the different people. People are, how do I say? People are categorized with this Myers-Briggs type indicator across 4 areas. So people are either extroverts or introverts. So extrovert, okay, good, thank you, Robert. People are either outgoing or prefer to stay alone. People are sensors who like to focus on the facts and details versus intuitives. People are either thinkers or feelers. People are judgers or perceivers. So judgers, for example, tend to be organized and prepared. Perceivers want to keep their options open. Out of this, each one of us, each human being, okay, is one of the 4. I, for example, I am an E, if I remember correctly, I am an E, N, T, P. You can have 16 different combinations, okay? And these different combinations, they have certain characteristic types. Each character different. And there is a lot of research about that. If you type, for example, the ENTP into the Google now, it will give you a lot of famous people in history who are the same, and it will tell you what motivates this character type and what doesn't motivate them. So motivated people are motivated by different things. Some people, they care a lot about the money. Others, okay, we all care about money, but others want to be recognized. So that's why some people like leave sometimes high-paying jobs because they cannot stand it, because they're not getting what they want. They feel bored. They feel not motivated. So this Myers-Briggs type indicator is a very good tool. I advise you to go, and there are free tests there to understand yourself. I used to do it even for my team members to understand them, to see they are what personality types, and based on that, I understand what they do. Behavioral theories, again, other behavioral theories. Consideration behavior and initiating structure behavior are both ways. Yes. Someone wants to talk? Okay. Behavioral theories, consideration behavior and initiating structure are both ways of looking toward the goal. Consideration behavior focus on the people, where initiating structure focus on the task. We will see this thing repeated again later on again. So consideration behavior is that the leader cares about the people, and he believes the it's a leadership style that fosters genuine friendships, trust, and harmony between the members of the team. So the leader feels that if his people around him are taken care of and well, they will support him and eventually they will do the task. On the other hand, initiating structure is that it believes in giving tasks. So focuses on how a leader defines roles for his or her team. It involves making work schedules, ensuring adherence to rules and regulations, and making sure that a high standard of work is maintained. So I will tend to believe that this is more oriented towards management and this is more oriented towards leadership. Situational theory. Situational theory, this is again a very famous theory. It's by Hersey Blanchard, situational leadership theory. It says that you cannot assume a one style of leadership for all scenarios. Leaders should change their leadership styles based on the maturity of the people they are leading and the details of the task. What does that mean? Is that different situations, different circumstances require different leadership styles. And different people need to be managed differently. That I believe in. In what sense? In that sometimes some people, you need to really just instruct them. Just do this. Don't argue. Do this, 1, 2, 3, 4. Other people, it works for you to just tell them and delegate to them. Tell them you go do something. They are capable enough. They are, how do I say this? They are competent enough and they are trustworthy enough that they will go and do this. You just provide them with the framework. Others, you really need to direct them. So there are 4 areas. We have the directing, the coaching, supporting, and delegating. At the lowest level of the chain is the directive. Directive, it means that where you are instructing someone what to do. You are really micromanaging. So you have directive, you have low supportive. So you look at the graph. Here you have supportive behavior. Here you have directive behavior. When the directive behavior is high, you are directing someone and you're really not supporting them. You don't care what they say. Just do this. Okay? This is called directing. Usually someone who is new to the organization, you should adopt with them a directing style. And then or coaching style. So coaching style is that you are being highly directive, you are telling them what to do, and highly supportive. You coach them. Okay. Someone, a misperforming employee, you need to adopt with them a directing style. It means that you are just telling them, just do this. I'm not supporting you. You go and do this. Coaching is that, no, I am directing you, but at the same time, I'm supporting you. The supporting is that I'm doing a lot of support for you, and I start reducing my directive behavior. Delegating, it's a person who is now in the best position. He is on or she is on a auto-flight mode. I give them low directive, low supportive behavior. They can fly their own. I just tell them on a very big scale what I want, and they go and do that. So people change depending on the situation. Even us, we change. Sometimes we are feeling low. Some people are feeling low and they need to have a directing behavior or a coaching behavior where you are directing them and supporting them. Some people, even the good delegation people, sometimes they need supporting and sometimes they need coaching. So you increase the directive behavior for them. Blake Mouton managerial grid. Then we talk about this way, how to handle a team, the different managerial way. A good management, proper team management is when you are having, as a manager, a high concern for people and a high concern for results. I care that I meet my sales targets, but at the same time, I'm not going to kill my team. I care for their well-being. If they need something, I will support them. I listen to them if they are having concerns and so on. So team management. On the other hand, is that if I only care about the results I care you meet the target. I don't give a damn about you. I don't give a damn sleeping because you are stressed out. I don't give a damn if you want to take some time out to take your child to the school. So this is what we call a produce or perish management. So this is a management style that's adopted by many people, and it's a produce or perish. As long as you are giving me your golden goose, I will keep milking you, milking you, milking you to the end. This is not a sustainable model of management, and this is not where you get the people at their best performance. Country club management on the other extreme is that I care for the well-being of the people, but I really don't give a damn about the results. Then again, this is called country club, and it's a recreational. We're not really a company. Impoverished management is that where I am having very low concern for people, very low concern for results. I'm not really existing. Okay. Contingency theories. Contingency theories propose that there is no one best way to manage or lead others, and that the situation should influence manager style. So this is more, again, we're talking about a little bit situational leadership. Contingency theories that the performance level of a group depends on the combination of situational favorableness and leadership style. So the situation itself and its favorableness will affect as long as with the leadership style. So it's influenced by three factors: the leader to member relationships, how strong our relationships are as a team, the task structure, who's doing what, and the position power that someone has within the team. Strategic partner role. So for us to lead, inspire, influence, we're talking about lead, inspire, influence, and manage. So we need to have all of this. So lead and manage, and in between, lead involves inspire, involves influencing, and manage. So you need to do both. Facilities manager balance leadership to inspire and influence FM staff and contractors with proper management. So you can be a very good leader, but let's say a poor manager, you cannot plan, you cannot execute. Okay, you cannot drive results. So no, you need to do both. Strategic partner role. Facility management is a strategic partner incorporating into the IFMA definition practice of coordinating the physical. So an FM needs to be a strategic partner of the organization. We are a service to the organization, and we need to be seen as a strategic partner. So the practice of coordinating the physical workplace with the people and work of the organization. The FM integrates the principle of business administration, architectural, and the behavioral and engineering sciences. So it's not only about my resources, it's not only about my management, it's about the whole package. How I manage my facility, how I lead the team, handle the facility. And this is what IFMA wants. And this goes focusing on taking you all over the management theories. As I told you, this is like a mini MBA where we covered the business aspect of it. We covered the sources aspect of it. We covered the facility, the sustainability of it, and so on. And we're going through them one by one. So leadership roles, facility managers' primary leadership role is to help their clients and customers succeed. So we are a strategic leader. We are helping our client and customers. So in the case when we are running our facilities for our own company, we are providing the environment for our own employees to succeed. We're providing them with a where they can be efficient, where they can feel belonging, where they can produce better, provide guidance to staff and service providers, influence decisions and attitude. FM organizational roles, best practices, and this is what IFMA is introducing us to. I remember in the introductory sessions, we talked about that a good thing about getting the CFM is that you will be introduced to the best practices to utilize, continual improvement. Good quality is a never achievable role. It's continuously evolving. It's continuously growing. We never reach it. We say, oh, best in the world. Those who did perished. At the time, Nokia was the best in the world. They are no more. At one time, who was the best in the world? They are no more. Many, many, many organizations. So the moment you say that, oh, I'm at the best quality, you lose. Quality is a continuous improvement process. Change management and re-engineering. So after all those theories, you need to understand how to rearrange your organization, how to rearrange your team for you to be manager. Change management, if you remember in the last session, we talked about how people resist change because it's linked to our basic needs. We are better, we are familiar with things. We are familiar. We prefer to drink coffee in this month. We prefer to go to work through this route. We prefer to order this item. We all have these kind of layers and layers and layers of preferences. Some of us have a better tolerance to change. Some of us like to try new things. Others resist to change. This comes from a basic human need for security, for familiarity with the surroundings. So the moment we are in a hostile environment and are not familiar with our surroundings, we feel threatened, okay? So change management is an important way because we understand the need for change. And if you remember when we were talking about the guests, the building occupants, for example, a good way is to involve people in the change process, not to overpromise them, and listen to them and take them into consideration, okay? Many people go through several stages of change resistance before internalizing a change. Why are we studying change as part of leadership? Because leadership usually involves, and strategy, it involves change. If you want to improve from where you are, you have to incorporate change. Change goes, it's like, I don't know if you know the 4 stages of grief. What is that? Is that usually when we lose something, or we lose someone who's dear to us, or something, let's say we lose our job, or we lose our bonus, or we go through several stages. Similarly for change. The first stage is shock, numbness. Okay, let's say when someone says, okay, we need to shift. It varies from a person to the other, and sometimes we run through the phases very quickly. But usually when we, let's say in the extreme case, they say it, which is like when you lose someone, is that you go through shock, then through depression and anger, and then lethargy, limbo in between, then restructuring, or in the case of death, it will become to accept. We accept and move. So understanding this is important through people. Sometimes when you're incorporating a change, and I've seen it happen a lot of times, we need to change the process. You have the people who will come and resist, or people even, the change happened and they're still in disbelief. And there are others who say, okay, fine, you need to change it. We understand why you need to change it. They adapt and move. So they have a high adaptability. Advocating the FM needs and priorities is a process of communicating and marketing the strategic importance of FM. IFMA always focuses on this. We've seen it happen again. IFMA focused initially. They understand that facility management is seen as a cost center by management. And they say is that always advocate that our role as facility managers is to make management understand is that if they don't invest in properly managing facilities, they are losing money, number one. And they need to understand the importance of facility management. Facility management are always faced with growing customer demands and shrinking resources. So this is what I like about IFMA. They look at things pragmatically and realistically. In such an environment, it's not sufficient to deliver services as efficiently and effectively as possible. Facility managers need to be business leaders who can represent the value proposition of the FM organization to customers, executives, and colleagues. So facility management has a strategic role in the organization. They can support or dilute the business. So if I'm a business that, as I said again, if a properly managed hotel or a facility of hotel, clean, well-maintained, provides customer comfort to clients, they get the hot water when they want, everything is fully maintained, it's running at the lowest energy utilization possible, lowest water utilization possible. I'm able to reduce the bill for my organization. At the same time, I'm taking care for my other stakeholders, which are the customers. I'm providing them with a noise-free, clean, comfortable environment. Then there is a value which I'm providing to the hotel. I'm just not a group of people with screwdrivers who come and repair things when they break. I'm a critical asset for the organization. Can you imagine a hotel in which there is noise and water leaking and improper AC running? People will not come again. External promotion, so similarly, you have to promote it internally and externally. Part of the facility manager's annual marketing plan could address the FM community, the public in general, and facility visitors in particular. We continue with the management. A key part of management is called organizational design. What's organizational design? Based on your strategy, you design your organization. How does that reflect? Why different companies have different organizational structures? For example, why different companies are project-oriented, whereas others that are functionally oriented? We will be covering those as we move along in the next one. Why? Because it needs to reflect a certain kind of business requirement. Just to give you an example, previously I was operating in a company, we were one kind of service. And then I found out that I came to the company and I found out that the projects installation team and the maintenance team is handled by the same team. Then at that time, I decided if I want to provide a better customer service and a better customer relationship, I need to separate the teams. The maintenance team needs to be separate. Even the projects team, I used to have like small projects and bigger projects. So even the small projects, because they are rotating people, I cannot on a big team have rotating people. Big projects, they expect to see the same purpose. So I divided them into commercial and residential division versus the projects division versus a separate maintenance division. And I designed the structure based on that, so that to ensure that they are self-sustainable, they don't really need to interact with each other. Why? Because the clientele base is like that. So I started from a strategy of a customer, how to handle that, and did an organizational change. So the organization design is the process of selecting and instituting an organizational structure, rewards and penalties, and policies and procedures appropriate to the organization strategy, size, desire for innovation, constraints, and operating environment. So for example, a simple organizational structure can be, for example, I can put all the regional offices in the Middle East reporting to someone in Dubai, let's say. Or let's say I want to focus more on the Qatar market. From a strategic perspective, I want to give them more autonomy. Then it's better to create a separate office for Qatar with a separate manager for Qatar. So this is, you see how the organizational design affects the strategy and the way we operate. Organizational structure is the formal power, structure, and hierarchy of an organization, and types and numbers of job positions per department, often communicated through charts. So when they ask on projects, show me the organizational structure, they want to see who reports to who, and so on. Different organizational structures we're going to be looking at. So if a vertical organization versus a horizontal organization, we have more people reporting to the same person. And a vertical, no, less people reporting to the same person. The functional organizational structure, this is a very common for many organizations. So a functional is that we separate the people by their functions. So the finance is here, the technical team is here, the HR team is here, and an administration team is here. Another way is a matrix, and or there can be a functional, or it can be, for example, a projectized organization, or as I said, country-based organization. Let's say I can have the Qatar team versus the Saudi team here, and under the Qatar team, I will have a manager and one finance, one of each. You know, I can have one of each. This is a different organizational structure. A matrix organizational structure is where I have a combination of both. And usually it happens in larger organizations where people will have dual roles. So for example, someone will be reporting to, let's say we have an organization structure which is operating all over the Gulf. I have, let's say, under Qatar, I have a finance team, I have a marketing team, and I have an operations team. And an organization structure is that I will have them reporting to the manager here, and at the same time reporting to, say, let's say, someone in the head office in France. The marketing team reports to there. I have from the different people. So this is a matrix organization. People have dual reporting lines. Okay, so this is in the case of projects. They are a projectized organization. Each project is having one of those individuals. One is coming from software, one coming from, so they report to dual bosses. And this is a complex organization structure, and it's happening to manage bigger teams. There is another organizational structure which is called the product organizational structure. This you can see it in companies such as Procter & Gamble, Nestle, and so on. They separate them into products. So like, for example, I had a friend who was managing one brand. He had like Milo under Nestle. Milo under Nestle had their own manufacturing, their own finance, their own marketing, and their own customer service. So you can see the difference. So where Nestle has it, like they have Milo, they have the different products one by one. In others, another structure, for example, all the manufacturing, if it was functional, all the manufacturing could have been separate. So you can see how the strategy, but because, for example, they wanted to focus Nestle on their own product, they made it independent. They made the manufacturing separate. Most likely they had a matrix structure, like where people are reporting to both. So for example, the manufacturing can be reporting to this product line, and all of the manufacturing can be linked to a central manufacturing unit for them to support them. Assignments and scheduling. These are different tools for scheduling. This you see it in project management, this concept. Those of you who have PMP training will be aware of this. This is the way we handle the resources. When we are handling resources, let's say the people on different projects. In a resource leveling, resources limiting techniques, importance is given to limited resources. Resource smoothing, time-limited scheduling technique, importance is given to the duration of the project. So we see that the difference between resource leveling is that we are focusing on the team that we have. So I can never, for example, I have a team of 10 people, okay, and they can give me 4 hours per day, or a team of 4 people to make it easier, and they can give me 10 hours per day maximum. So I limit this, and it can extend more. So if I look at my tasks, let's say the task requires a certain number of hours. In this case, it will stretch. This will be the sacred fixed thing. I cannot utilize more than this. And I will have to stretch. Let's say I want to install one chiller, and I only have this limited number of resources. I'm not allowed to hire. I have to use my internal staff. So in that case, I'm giving resource leveling. I am relying on the staff that I have, and I will extend the time. And resource smoothing, no, the 6 weeks is the fixed thing. Okay, and whatever is needed to do, I can do. I can hire, I can do whatever. Okay, so the project duration remains the same. And in resource leveling, the product duration gets, and here I may require additional resources and so on. So in one, I'm keeping the resources fixed. In others, I'm keeping the schedule fixed and changing the resources. Another theory in developing teams, and this again is one of the practical tools that I've seen, and understanding it makes it easier for you to form teams, is that teams in their stages of forming go through 4 stages. Here they are put as 5, but I will show you why. So adjourning a few are canceling the team and closing it. So when you form a team, usually you go through the forming phase. So you call them forming, storming, norming, and performing. You want the team to be performing, but for it to be performing, it usually goes through these levels. Same like the Grieve structure. Some teams directly jump from forming to performing and don't waste time, but usually they go through this phase. Okay, so in the forming phase, let's say you are tasked with someone from the head office, 3-4 guys, or a new person, you come and you form a team. Or even it happens when someone joins a new team. So if I hire a manager at a certain level in organizations, you can see this with your own eyes. And initially, everyone is, there is less interaction. So everything is formal. So little agreement, unclear purpose. And then storming, you start seeing conflicts. There can be small conflicts, like everyone's trying to establish his territory, his or her territory. This is mine, this is not mine. So you see this storming, this conflict, okay? So there is a lot of conflict, power struggles, okay? And then when you cross that area and everyone knows their limits, everyone knows their capabilities, everyone knows that I cannot cross that line, I am in charge of this, then you go to the norming. In the norming phase, you will see agreement. You see the team is more or less, anyone understands when they are, everyone has a clear role and responsibility. And in performing is that when the whole team is running as one good oiled machine. Okay? So they go through the 4 phases. Finally is adjourning. It means that you are dismantling the team. And this usually happens in when you are doing projects. And then there is no need. And then everyone goes back to their day-to-day jobs. But if they are, you're hiring someone and he goes in the team and you form this, you will get this, and they continue in this structure. Team behavior theories. Belbin was a researcher and indicated that individuals fill behavioral roles in team situations. So in a team situations, people fill naturally certain roles, okay? And that the roles can change over time. There are different, and you can see that because we are all individual, each one of us have their own preferences. So some people have people-oriented roles. So some people are team workers, and they are help the team to gel and complete any task currently not being actioned. So they are the ones who come to support. Coordinator, okay, so need to focus on the team's objectives. Thought-oriented roles, okay, there can be someone who's a specialist. Maybe he's not an excellent team worker, but he's a specialist in their field. He's someone where we go to when things are stuck in that area. Action-oriented roles, some people who are shaper, they process the necessary drive to ensure that the team keeps moving. He's a mover. And he push. An implementer is a guy who you just give him the task and he executes. Completer finisher, there are people who are good at completing jobs. You give them this and they come and wrap up the project. So the Belbin says that different people take different roles and that these roles can change. Task maintenance and self-interest roles. Task 4 roles are focused on ensuring that the work is started and finished. Maintenance roles focus on maintaining harmony in team relationships. You don't want someone to be doing self-interest roles. Task and maintenance roles have a positive impact on the group dynamics. Self-interest roles have a negative impact. It's like, we're looking at the team behavior theories. Of course, the task roles and the maintenance roles are good roles, but self-interest roles focus on individual interests over teamwork, and if left unchecked, could destroy a team from within. Many times we find teams struggling to continue or complete a task because someone is a little bit selfish, focused on what's their interest of, and this is something that you really need to be able. A good management trait is that being able to realize that there is conflict. Team motivation, so similar to individual people, some people are intrinsically motivated and some people are extrinsically motivated. So intrinsically motivated, they are people who are self-motivated, people who are motivated by their values and their achievements. Extrinsic people motivated, people that need to be recognized. And this is, again, there is no right or wrong. This is how people are handled. So similarly, teams are like that. So team rewards can be intrinsic or extrinsic. The intrinsic are within the team. Within the team, good motivational things include good team individual teams. Sometimes you find a team has a certain chemistry. They are good. They can be a department which has a better interaction chemistry than other departments. They include challenging but feasible tasks. Job enrichment. So an important thing is called job enrichment. People need to feel value in what they're doing. They need to feel that they are doing more than mundane tasks, repetitive tasks. This was observed a lot for workers in China. They found out that, okay, people are efficient, but after a while, they need to have job enrichment. They are not machines. Human beings, you cannot treat them as machines doing the same thing every day, every day, every day. You need to rotate them. You need to let them do other things for them to feel like they're having a value. Successful task completion. So harmonious inside. Extrinsic team rewards are given by a superior or a management to the members of the team equally. They include bonuses, branded apparel, linking evaluations and promotion, team building events, recognition for a team, and so on. So intrinsic rewards are some things that are internal, extrinsic are external. Developing and implementing and evaluating FM policies requires leadership to gain support for proposed policy, procedure, and changes. Policies, what are the policies? What are the difference between a policy, a procedure, and a practice? Policy is like the quality policy that you have hanging on your wall, on the organization wall, or the safety policy. They are broad guidelines designed to focus organizational activities. So bigger companies have different policies for different things. They have an HR policy, they have a personal equipment use policy, and so on. Procedures are tactics for performing activities. Procedures, so this is the way we process our purchasing behavior. Customary tactics, they are customary, so this is the way we do it. It's not written down. Practices are explicit, so they are explicit guidelines. Okay. So the guideline, for example, for procurement is written there. This is how you handle procurement. It goes for a material requisition, it goes for approval from the project manager, it goes approval from your facility manager, and so on. They can be based on best practices, and they control and restrict individual group behavior. Another important management tool, and this we covered last time a little bit, is we talked about job description. Many times people fail in doing what they want because their managers assume that they know what they want from them. And you find out that no, they don't assume. So clarifying and communicating responsibilities and accountabilities is a leadership and management task that involves determining levels of accountability, designing jobs, and evaluating performance. So one particular tool about it is the job description. So it is like telling the employee clearly who you report to, what you're expected to do, on what basis you're going to be measured, and so on. Criteria for a quality job description includes a role description that sets clear expectations, reasonable and specific work responsibilities, authority level, accountability level, measure requirements. I'm going to be measuring you on these KPIs, location of work, and fair characterization of the actual working conditions. Knowledge, ability, and skills. So these are three different things. People might think that they are the same, but they are not. Knowledge is the theoretical or practical understanding of a subject. Knowledge. So this is something that you learn. Now you are learning knowledge through this. This is acquired through learning or experience. Example, knowing how to bake a cake or knowing the management theory. Knowledge increases with experience. Skill are the proficiencies you develop through training or experience. So for example, maybe after you have the theoretical knowledge, for example, now in this course, to understand what's a budget. Skills is that through practice, you learn how to do this. So this is a practiced or learned behavior, like having baking and cooking skills or practice in baking. In the sense of facility management, let's say you have a skill of preparing a budget. Skill can be developed with practice. Ability is something natural that comes innate. It's natural or inbuilt. So some people have a natural or inbuilt way of properly managing a workplace, or let's say the design of a space. They have a natural ability to visualize. So like having a natural ability, a natural attention to detail. Ability can be improved to a certain extent, but it's something that is built with someone. So you find someone who are like, let's say musicians, you find that some people, okay, in theory, you can teach someone to play a piano, and through playing of the skills, through continuous skills, they will improve it. But some people, you have just the ability, immediately they handle a piano and they handle this. Mozart is a typical example. Mozart wrote his first symphony when he was 9 years old. So he definitely had an ability. It has not related much to knowledge and skills which he has developed. Knowledge, skills, and abilities. So it's the information needed to succeed at the certain tasks. Skills are the proficiencies needed to perform tasks. Abilities are the capabilities needed to succeed in the job position. Job title. So job titles are tools to reflect the amount of authority and job content for a position. How about talent? This is under ability. Talent is under ability. This is something that is born with you. So it's natural or inbuilt. So this is what we call talent or ability. This is for Yusuf. So job titles. Facility managers select job titles to carefully reflect the amount of authority and job content. So, and usually they are indicative. When I say someone is a facility manager, I'm implying something. When I say someone is an energy optimization manager, I'm implying something as well, and so on. So, and they change from one organization to the other. For example, a facility manager in one organization means something, and other may differ to the level. Because, for example, there can be a facilities director in some organization. So the level on others they call a facility manager, even if it's a hospital or university campus of 1 million square meters. So they call it a facility manager. Others, a facility manager would be someone, let's say, for a building. So it changes. So professional specialist, no subordinates. These are general guidelines. Okay, so job titles vary by organization. IFMA has researched and developed the following list of titles to indicate a position applies. So it's just indicative. A supervisor has subordinates, but none has supervisors. Section head has subordinates who are supervisors. A manager has subordinates who are supervisors. A director has subordinates who supervise other supervisors. So we go from a professional to a unit supervisor to a section head to a manager and up to a director. Work coordination tools and techniques. Let me just check for a second in which slide we are to make sure that we are on time. Yes, we are slide 49 out of 59. I prefer that we take a 5-minute break and come back. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, we'll be back at 9:20. Okay, guys, I'm back. To continue, we're talking about leadership and management. So we covered lots of grounds. Tools and techniques for work coordination may include the following. So as part of this, may be applying more towards management rather than towards what do you call it, leadership. We're talking about mechanical things, how to handle situations. A good tool to handle coordination is to make most tasks routine, particularly in facility management. Facility management is usually bound by routine. What does that mean? Is that we are running operational facilities. We have projects, but what we try to do usually, we're trying to make everything automated or running on autopilot. And less things are coming haphazard. So that's why we do preventive maintenance and preventive maintenance planning. We want to secure that the interruptions are as little as possible. We want to make more than 90% of our day-to-day tasks just repetitive, so that we leave a chance for, in case something doesn't, of course we can't reach 100%, but we aim to make facility managers can avoid a reactive crisis mode. John, you want to say something? Anyhow, so facility managers can avoid, we avoid a reactive. So the worst kind of management is what we call firefighting management. This is the worst kind of management. This is a management which shows like poor planning. Firefighting management is that we run until we hit a wall and then we run fire, trying to turn it off. So the more you are organized, the more you are pre-planned, the more you are having tasks as routine, the less you're going to have firefighting situations, and less you're going to have things falling off your radar. Creating a work management center. So a work management center, usually this is ruled by a CFM, computer-aided facility management system, or it can be manual. IFMA organizations typically have a central point of contact for all customers that may include a reception desk, phone line, website, where all customer requests and complaints are received. This is a work management center in which it is routed and given to different people in the organization. Work coordination technology can enable the automated receipts of requests. So here we're talking about automation, and as we said previously, a good thing about IFMA is that it teaches us the best practices. This is an example. It's saying that it's better that you make the most tasks routine. It says that better to create a work management center and use work coordination technology. Technology now has made it easier for you to send tasks through computer-aided facility management system and integrated workplace management systems, IWMS. We will be looking into the details of these systems in the last session of technology. But utilization of technology is a good tool for us to shortcut the process. Implementing control procedures. So control procedures, how, for example, you handle a task, how you seek an approval for a task to ensure that we don't have redundancies or we don't have mistakes, we don't have a conflict, painting a wall just prior to its demolition, proper review, and so on. Coordinating work across boundaries. Work coordination with other internal departments can make service delivery seamless. It requires leadership from facility manager to establish shared accountability with other departments. As a manager, a large part of your work is to handle people from other department, to negotiate with them. In the sense of negotiate is that to interact, engage with other people. Resolving conflicts. Conflicts are a natural occurrence in life. We have to recognize that. Conflicts can be simple conflicts, differences in opinion, or they can be more severe. Okay, so conflicts can occur sometimes just to misunderstanding or confusion about accountabilities, who's handling what. This is a very common thing. Oh, I thought that he's supposed to do it. No, I thought that she's supposed to do it. And then they end up in a conflict. As I mentioned a few minutes ago, is that a good talent of a manager is to discover conflicts. Sometimes people tend to bury it, but you find, like, for example, problems in the procedure. You should be able to sense that, okay? Some people have it as a natural skill to see that some people are having negative feelings towards the other, or so on. Finding the root cause of conflicts. Individual to individual conflicts can occur for many reasons, including individual or team behavior problems. You need to go, what's the root cause of the conflict? Sometimes the root cause is something not related to this. Sometimes it's personal reasons. Sometimes it's a poor understanding of role and responsibility. Sometimes a poor management definitely will lead to poor coordination with the team and lots of conflicts, because people will be tossing the ball. It's my responsibility, no, it's his responsibility, and so on. An organization structure, for example, in itself is difficult because we have one person who's trying to satisfy two bosses, and that by nature create conflicts. Cultural differences also can be a reason. Some things that are offensive in one culture are not offensive in another culture. And a poor matchup of tasks versus sets. So there are many reasons for conflicts. A good management is able to address these conflicts, discover them, and handle them. There is a conflict even at the level of the organization between the stakeholder, who is, let's say, the owner of the building, the customer, and so on. They can be initiated from many reasons. Downsizing, limited resources is the main thing. FM wants to improve, FM is having problem, and then FM ends up with having an unscheduled, because they have to make lots of shortcuts, they end up with a big shutdown of a certain system, and then conflict will rise. It's your responsibility why you're not handling it. You didn't give me the resources. It can happen internally due to poor planning from the FM side. Defensive reaction to customer complaints. Handling customer complaints is an art, and if you understand that a customer complaint is always a good point for you to improve, because it's highlighting your weaknesses, and it's good for you to know where you are. One-dimensional organizational goals such as short-term profit, this command can lead to conflict. If an organization is only about cost saving, okay, as I said, you can save on the short term, and then in the long term you have your chiller burnout and you shell out millions of riyals. And I see it happening on a day-to-day basis. I see clients go and decide to go for a cheap service provider with less manpower, less resources, less experience, thinking they are saving money. And then this facility management company ends up doing a lousy task, and they are not properly managed. And then they end up doing damage in millions of riyals of equipment. The lifespan of the equipment, let's say the equipment was has a lifespan of 20 years. When it's improperly managed, it can go to half. So in that way, it's like this short-sightedness of the client. They're not able to see the long-term consequences. Constructive conflicts. Conflict is good. If looked at, it's good to have a diversity of opinions. Last time we talked about a diverse workplace, and it's good to have conflict. But conflict is good when it is constructive. Constructive in the sense is that we are criticizing ideas, and this is shown here, processes or technical approaches, but we are not doing personal attacks. I can have a problem with a company, open a court case against them, or whatever it is, but I don't have to go and attack them personally. So we maintain professionalism and keep it just to the workplace. I know many people have conflict with others, and then in the end of the day, they go out, have a drink together, or things like that. So don't make it personal. In a constructive approach, people state their positions respectfully and try to win consensus. It's a civilized way of disagreeing. People rely more on facts and data, and you should have an open mind when you're in a constructive conflict. It's not about being opinionated. It's about, okay, I have this idea, you have a different idea about this. Let us talk about it. If you can convince me, I'll listen. If you're making sense, I'll listen. So that's people rely more on facts. People allow others to speak and actively listen to these points of view. So active listening, it means that we are not hearing only voices, we are listening, we are taking it into consideration, we are thinking about it. Negotiation again is a management tool. It's a skill, it's an ability, it's everything, I find it. We're always negotiating in life. We're negotiating with our family, we're negotiating with our boss for the salary, we're negotiating for a salary increase, we're negotiating for task enrichment, we're negotiating with suppliers, and so on. We're even negotiating with our kids for their sleep time. They want to get more time. So there are usually soft negotiations versus hard negotiations. Soft negotiations are, hard negotiations are a win or lose situation. It's a make or break. Soft negotiation. So parties adopting the opposite hard negotiation techniques see other parties as adversaries. I am talking to an enemy to be defeated, and so they insist on their position and demand concessions without giving any in return. Soft negotiations is a better way of handling negotiations. Parties adopting a soft negotiation technique value agreement and avoid a contest of will to the extent that they disclose their bottom line and are willing to change their position or accept one-sided agreements that involve concessions on their part. So we are trying to reach a consensus mutually. If you look at the figure on the right, it says that in soft negotiation, we are friends, goal is agreement, we are ready to make concessions to reach a way, we trust everyone, I am okay to change my position, I am okay to make an offer, I am willing to accept a loss just to reach an agreement. It's not always win. In a hard negotiation, no, it's the goal is victory. It's either make or perish. خلاص. I apply pressure, I insist on position, and so on. Here we talk about an important topic on all of those professional organizations such as IFMA, ethics. Ethics is important. It's important for us to adopt ethical behavior. It's good to be a good manager, but we should do everything in an ethical manner. And this is what this is our value as human beings. Unfortunately, some organizations are unethical from the top to the bottom. Others are ethical. I tend to believe most people are good by nature. So promote and encourage and adhere to a code of conduct. Some companies or the big companies have a written code of conduct. They write it explicitly. You are expected to behave in this way. And it goes to details even to regarding, okay, how to accept gifts, what value of gifts to accept, and so on. Codes of conduct are the principles that guide decision-making and behavior within an organization. They serve as guidelines. So codes of conduct are guidelines. They are not some specific things, but they're general guidelines. So for example, some organizations have a code of conduct that wherever we operate, we expect an employee not to be politically affiliated. So this is a code of conduct. This is done to provide and promote professionalism, work performance, and personal integrity. Ethics is a system of moral principles and values that establish appropriate conduct in a business environment. The rules of ethical behavior should govern the organization's officers, directors, and all employees, including facility managers. It's not enough that one person is ethical, the whole organization should be ethical. Ethical leaders, you as a leader, you as a manager, why is this being highlighted? You are supposed to promote ethical practices within your team. If let's say you are a facility manager and you know that there is an equipment that your team damaged by accident, it's your ethical responsibility to highlight it to your client and to come forward with this. It's unethical to bury mistakes, let's say. Ethical leadership is about doing the right thing. Facility managers who practice ethical leadership can positively shift the entire organization's mindfulness towards ethics and codes of conduct. Develop and manage and oversee relationships. We always see it. It's very important to manage the customer relationship management. As I said, quality is defined by the customer. The level of service is defined by the customers. Customers are who pay your salaries. If you put that in your mind, it's not the company which pays your salaries. It's the customer who pays your salary. And this is a golden principle in management. If you understand that the customer is the one in the end who's paying your salary, the customer of the hotel is the one who's coming to the hotel, who's making the hotel company grow, who's making the hotel company afford you. So if you understand that, you know that the customer satisfaction is very key for him to come back over and over for you. It's a business technique. So similarly for a hospital, for example, it's the customer, it's the patient who's paying for this. If the patient is not feeling welcome, he will not come to the hospital. If he's not feeling that he's getting the proper medical treatment, he will not come to the hospital. So it comes to many things. One of them is facility management. Internal stakeholder management. Facility managers manage internal stakeholder relationships in order to advocate for FM needs and priorities and gain a leadership position. So again, this leadership thing tells you that you should be aware of who are your stakeholders, who are the people who you should really consider. And one of them is, of course, the customer, but again, the company ownership and management is important. Supplier, so these kind of relationships need to maintaining relationships with your customers, with your internal stakeholders, and with your suppliers. Suppliers are not just equipment providers and things like that. There's the mentality that people need to understand that you are as good as your supply chain. If you have a poor supply chain, you will not be able to perform or deliver properly. So take care of your suppliers. Unfortunately, many people don't, and their intention is to come and destroy their suppliers or embezzle some money out of them or whatever. So they see it as a win-lose situation. Good companies don't do that. Good companies reward their suppliers by giving them more business. If you're a company which is providing me with, let's say, especially in facility management, it becomes very critical because many cases you will have to do an emergency shutdown. You have to do something. If you have a good supplier who you're really taking care of, paying them on time when you can, and really not squeezing them out of the last penny that they have, then maybe you call them at the middle of the night, take care of the people who are supplying you. They will come. So this is what is referred to by IFMA. Corporate social responsibility. And this is where the organization realizes that it's part of the community in which it's operating. And in the end, is that it should be serving that community in which it's operating. It's not an island. So it's a form of organization self-regulation that integrates the interest of the community and environment into the business model. Certain countries provide, many countries actually provide tax incentives for companies who give back to the community around them. It's good for the company image. It's good to giving back. One of the good business leaders that I find very strong in that is Bill Gates. Bill Gates donates maybe almost $1 billion used to donate to India at that time every year to show that he cares. He invests in many. Now he has the Gates Foundation run by him and his wife. He retired from Microsoft. So even here in Qatar, many organizations, we do things with the Qatari Red Crescent. to show that we are part of this community, that we are contributing to this community, that we are not only here to make money. Yes, making money is a goal, but in the end, there is some kind of contribution and collaboration as a society. So part of the CSR, for example, which is related to sustainability, is, for example, people started supporting Made in Qatar in the last 2-3 years as a way to support the local economy, because if we are strong, you are strong, and buying from you locally, we are all strong. Topics frequently addressed by a CSR policy includes health, safety, environmental stewardship, sustainability, employment, like we employ people from the community, equality and fair pay, community reinvestment and the use of local goods and services, charity and volunteering. So we come to the questions. It was a long session today, but we are over. Which of the following analysis tools may include environmental scanning? Because it's divided into internal versus external perspective and advantage versus disadvantage perspective.
What?
Huh?
SOT. Bravo.
Bravo.
Yeah, B.
True. Which of the following can be used to rank competing strategic options, because each can be related on how well it reduces the variance between the actual situation and the desired situation?
A balance scorecard.
No.
Gap analysis.
Yeah, gap analysis. Balance scorecard is where we combine, remember, the financial, customer, the four aspects, the financial, the customer, the internal processes, and the employees. This is the balance scorecard.
Desired.
Huh?
No, D, gap analysis.
Yeah, gap analysis is a gap. This is where we are and where we want to be. Gap analysis. Which of the following points in the strategy life cycle is the most critical? Because it where mere strategic endeavors fail. We said strategy usually fails where?
Execution.
Yes. So which answer?
D.
Yeah. D.
D.
Deciding to engage workers on a regular basis in decision-making on operations for their work areas is the definition for which of the following?
Delegation.
Delegation is not about decision-making. Delegation is that you're telling them to do the task.
Employee content involvement.
Yes.
Empowerment.
You are involving someone. So engaging someone, it means you are involving them. How do I engage you in the decision-making process? I involve you. I tell you, I make you feel that you are part of it. So this is engagement and involvement. According to Hesberg motivation hygiene theory, okay, so we're talking about the hygiene theory. Which of the following is an example of a motivation factor that can result in job satisfaction? Remember the hygiene theories. Hygiene items are items if they are there, you are expecting them as a minimum. If they are not motivational.
A.
You are right.
Alpha.
Because the rest are things that you expect to have. You're expecting to have some job security, a good supervisor with a good leadership skill. Which of the following situational leadership styles is being used when leaders engage followers with some experience or confidence by selling their ideas to them?
Coaching.
Yes. According to IFMA codes of ethics, which of the following should a member do if presented with an ethical choice not addressed by the code? As we said, the code is a general guideline. It doesn't cover all the scenarios, all the situations. So if you can counter a situation in which is not clearly specified in the code, what do you do?
B.
Yes, because the first one is free to act on his conscience. Some people don't have the, and they qualified it by saying, so the only factor in ethical decisions. No, maybe your conscience is more tolerant than what you're supposed to do. You never know. Which of the following is ethical? C, the member acts in what appears to be the best interest of the organization. The financial interest of the organization is not always aligned with the best ethical practice. The member makes whichever choice will demonstrate loyalty to his or her boss. Again, this is not related to ethics. Which of the following is true of ethical leadership?
Practiced by majority of leaders to be effective.
True. This was covered in the course and it just makes sense.
Technical leadership must be practiced by the majority.
Yeah, so most managers and executives are already ethical leaders. This is not right. Immoral leaders cannot have an impact on the organization. Yes, if you have an immoral leader, he can force even ethical people to adopt unethical practices. So this doesn't, amoral leaders yes, so ethical leadership must be practiced by all leaders by majority. Which of the following is true of an FM organization stakeholders?
A.
True, you need to manage stakeholder expectations. You need to address their needs, the internal and external stakeholders. That was it for tonight. Any questions?
It was a long one indeed.
A.
Hmm?
A.
Yeah, I answered. A is correct. Any other questions? If there is no other questions, then we will conclude for tonight and I will see you on Saturday.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Good night.
Enjoy your evening, guys. Bye-bye.
Right.
Thank you.